You're making pancakes on a Sunday morning. You reach into the cupboard and pull out a dark, sticky bottle labeled molasses. You drizzle a little into the batter, and it flows like liquid midnight, thick and slow. But here's the question. What exactly is this stuff? It's not honey, it's not maple syrup, it's something else entirely. And once you understand where molasses comes from, you'll realize it's one of the strangest byproducts in your kitchen. Let's start with sugar. Not the white crystals in the bowl on your table, but the plant it comes from. Sugarcane. This tall bamboo-like grass grows in hot tropical climates. Inside its stalks is a sweet, watery juice packed with natural sugars. For thousands of years, people have been crushing sugarcane to extract that juice. And that's where molasses begins. Here's how it works. After the sugarcane is harvested, it's sent to a mill where giant rollers crush the stalks. What comes out is raw sugarcane juice, greenish, cloudy, and very sweet. But it's not pure sugar yet. It's a mixture of water, sugar, minerals, vitamins, and plant fibers. To turn this juice into the white sugar you know, it has to go through a refining process. First, the juice is boiled. As the water evaporates, the liquid gets thicker and thicker. Eventually, sugar crystals start to form. These crystals are then separated from the remaining liquid using a centrifuge, like a giant spinning drum. The crystals go on to become granulated sugar, but the liquid that's left behind? That's molasses. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Molasses isn't made just once. The sugar refining process repeats multiple times. After the first boil, you get light molasses. It's the mildest, sweetest version because most of the sugar is still in the juice. Then the liquid is boiled again. More sugar crystals are removed. What's left is darker and less sweet. This is called dark molasses. But the process doesn't stop there. If you boil it a third time, you get blackstrap molasses. By now, almost all the sugar has been extracted. What remains is thick, bitter, and intensely concentrated. It's packed with minerals like iron, calcium, and magnesium because those nutrients don't crystallize. They stay in the liquid. So blackstrap molasses is technically a byproduct, but it's also one of the most nutrient-dense syrups you can buy. Let me put it this way. Imagine squeezing juice from an orange. The first squeeze gives you fresh, sweet juice. But if you keep pressing harder and harder, you start extracting the oils, the pulp, the bitter compounds from the peel. That final press isn't going to taste sweet, but it's full of concentrated flavor and nutrients. That's basically what blackstrap molasses is, the last press. Here's something most people don't realize. Molasses isn't just a food. For centuries, it was a major commodity. In the 1600s and 1700s, molasses was shipped all over the world. It was cheaper than refined sugar, so it became a staple for baking, brewing, and cooking. In fact, molasses was so valuable that it fueled entire trade routes. Sugarcane grown in the Caribbean was turned into molasses, which was then shipped to New England. There, it was distilled into rum. The rum was traded for goods in Africa, which were then sold in the Caribbean. This was called the Triangle Trade, and molasses was right at the center of it. Molasses also played a strange role in American history. In 1919, a massive storage tank in Boston filled with over 2 million gallons of molasses burst open. A wave of thick, sticky syrup flooded the streets at 35 miles per hour. It killed 21 people and injured over 150. The Great Molasses Flood, as it's called, was one of the strangest industrial disasters in history. For decades afterward, people said you could still smell molasses on hot days in that part of the city. But back to your kitchen. Why does molasses taste the way it does? The sweetness comes from the leftover sugars. The bitterness comes from compounds that develop during the boiling process. And the deep, almost smoky flavor? That's because the sugars begin to caramelize as they're heated over and over again. It's similar to what happens when you toast bread or roast coffee beans. Heat changes the flavor. That's also why molasses is used in so many baked goods. Gingerbread, bran muffins, baked beans, even barbecue sauce. It adds sweetness, yes, but also moisture, color, and a rich, complex flavor that plain sugar just can't match. The stickiness helps baked goods stay soft. The acidity helps activate baking soda. And the minerals add subtle depth. So the next time you see that dark bottle in your cupboard, you'll know exactly what it is. Molasses is what's left after sugar is taken out of sugarcane juice. It's concentrated, it's rich, and depending on how many times it's been boiled, it can be sweet or surprisingly bitter. It's a byproduct that became a staple, a leftover that shaped history, and a thick, sticky reminder that sometimes the most interesting things are the ones left behind.